Hey Divine Lights, I wrote a piece on embracing our weirdness and thought I'd share it here on YouTube. So it is time to embrace your weirdness. And if you've even felt a teensy bit weird through your life or as a kid or was one of those weird kids that never fitted in, if you felt caught between two worlds, felt old or anything, then I really encourage you to listen to this and listen to it till the end. So, in the words of someone I heard the other day on YouTube, he said, "Learn to be open and honest and have the courage to say what's on your mind. Your weird input could be the words that change someone else's life or make them fall in love with you. And if the recipient turns and looks at you in wide-eyed shock or a mocking sneer, remember that this doesn't spell doom for you and who you are. It simply means you haven't quite yet found someone who is your kind of weird." And as I listened to him say these words, it just finally dawned on me that for all my speaking and my YouTube videos and social media over the years, I hadn't been completely honest in my weirdness. I hadn't fully embraced that. Actually, probably in my daily life either. You see, I shared parts of my weirdness that spilled out at times, but mostly I played it safe. I was able to successfully coach clients to heal their deepest scars and darkness, yet all without showing my weirdness. I could talk all my wisdom that I had channeled through and tapped into as an angelic master, but I still hid my true unique weirdness. You know, I could read people's energy and help free them from repetitive trapped lives within this insane matrix world and help guide them onto their highest soul path. Yet in my daily life, my discussions and sharing with others, I'd never really fully expressed or shown to the full extent of my weirdness. I realized this. And then I realized how much this is such a big part of me. So it was like, why aren't I fully embracing, loving, and expressing my weirdness? At times, even my daughter would say, "Mum, you are the weirdest person, but I love it. You are such a weirdo." And I would get such a warm, the warm and fuzzies when I'd hear that, because to me it was such a compliment. And it was her acknowledging my true beauty and form. In my book, I talked extensively about feeling different and weird, and I did. I talked about how I felt growing up, living between two worlds, going through school and thereafter to this day. Yet when I was writing my book, I still felt that I'd left out so much of my weirdness. And why? Because at the time, I thought I better not show too much. Nobody wants to see that or read that. I knew I was helping others with my book, but I didn't truly understand just how much my weirdness can bring so much to others, or this crazy fucked up world we live in. But even 4 years ago when I wrote my book, I still had not learned to embrace my weirdness and love that, like I know I have to and want to and will today. When we go on our spiritual path to enlightenment, first of all, what is enlightenment? To enlighten yourself. It's nothing to look for outside of yourself. It's to enlighten the inner self you already know but have disconnected from. On the spiritual path, many people cross our paths and we kind of get lost again in narratives along the way whilst trying to find our true self, which in itself is a paradox. I've had spiritual friends and colleagues tell me over the years some things I didn't really resonate with, like I have to be louder or do this or do that. I have to change from being introverted to extroverted, be on the public stage sharing my knowledge and wisdom, which may have served its purpose at the time, so I was grateful. Yet I always felt it wasn't me. And I always felt in some way, whilst finding that connection back to my true self on this spiritual path, many listen to others, not themselves, in what is truly aligned for their soul. I felt I had to change myself in one way or another, which never felt aligned to me. It just didn't really resonate. I knew if those things were part of my path, my soul would have been jumping through hoops. I always felt like that weird, misunderstood kid that no one wanted to listen to. Or one of those kids they felt uncomfortable being around because we were, as a kid, making more sense than an adult. Because when you're connected to the spiritual realms more than the human existence, this is what happens. You're the kid that's always like the outcast, the kid that just appeared different, and no matter how hard you tried to fit in, didn't. And it showed. And as I say in my book, why would I even want to? I was one of those kids that pissed off adults and school teachers because they knew more than them and would openly express that. We knew more because we were connected to our higher self, not our lower self. And though we've been told our whole life that that's not good, we have to be connected and grounded to this matrix world, we knew something bigger. We then go onto our spiritual path to be told to connect to our higher self, and that being in our lower self is not the highest aspect or version of yourself, which we knew in the first place, all along, from a kid. Weird old souls are the kids at school that would rather spend lunchtimes in the science wing playing with Bunsen burners, or the maths room working out problems, or the library researching, like I did. Then hanging out with teenagers, chatting whatever it is they found to talk about. I found more connection doing that and being alone than being with others that didn't get me. I never felt a connection or a connection to anything much on this planet. But I have spent a lifetime trying to make that happen. For what? Why? So I can cover up my unique weirdness to please others instead of being that, which may have helped others like me. We are often told to put our weirdness in a box and close the lid. We must conform to society and what others expect of us. Imagine being the full, and I mean full, expression of yourself. How good does that feel? I was picked on, bullied, called strange and weird, called old when I was young. I never felt like I fitted into my young body. I spent more time alone and watching the stars from my bedroom window than wanting to go and hang out with kids. I was unique, I was different, I was weird, but I was connected. I say from me, fuck being your lower self, being what the narratives or social norms say or want us to be. If you've been connected to your higher self and soul since birth, embrace that. If you've been smarter or wiser than everyone else around you, then be that. Embrace that too. Don't dumb yourself down for others. Don't try to fit into social norms or crap that we are brought up to believe or programmed to perform like an actor in our life role. You are the protagonist in your own film. Write the character of who you are from who exactly you are. Embracing all your weird. Some of us feel old from day one. We know we are old, ancient souls who come for something different. Maybe something bigger, greater, and wiser than being dumbed down to conform to others' beliefs and fitting into what our friends and family around us think we should, or how we should be. Let them be them and you do you. Without the worry or fear of embarrassment, snide remarks, broken down laughter, comments of crazy or nuts, let them be robotically lost in a shell version of lower consciousness. And you be you. You have bigger plans. I lost who I was and that connection to myself from trying to fit into the social narratives and norms. I lost myself for years, decades. But no longer will I hide myself for anyone else's uncomfortableness of being around me. No longer will I change myself for who I think I might need to be to fit in to not just this ridiculous world that has never made sense to me, but the spiritual path too. I realised I was disconnected from my human identity because I was trying to make that identity something different from whom I truly was. Have you ever been a kid that looked around this world and thought, what the actual fuck is going on here? Like me. I did it just about every day. Except we never had the saying, really, what the fuck. It was more like, for far out sakes, man, why don't people see this? I lost connection to myself whilst trying to find connection to the outside world and outside humans, yet the path to connection is inside. Being yourself, your own kind of weird, your own kind of unique. That's what the world needs. That's what you came here to be. And if you're still confused, think about this. If Einstein wasn't who he came to be, would he have created such greatness? If Nikola Tesla wasn't his own kind of weird, how devastating would that have been for the planet? And if Stephen Hawking was too worried about fitting in and never embraced his weirdness, the world wouldn't have his incredible contributions. In our own way, we are all an Einstein, a Tesla or Hawkins. We just don't always see it. Not everyone has come weird. Not everyone has come awake to this planet to share their wisdom. But what if you are one of the ones that have and is not fully embracing that? Do it. Be it. Now. Don't be fooled by others into thinking it's not worth expressing. And as I wrote in my book the words of Albert Einstein, who once said, the more wisdom you attain and the more conscious you become, the crazier you will appear to others. And I say, crazy or gifted, they are one of the same.